Portland Parks and Rec says they have the money to take care of trees like this. They just don't have the people right now. Families were getting into their cars here at Creston Park when the tree fell, and thankfully no one was hurt. I say thankfully because take a look at this car. No one was inside of it when the tree fell, but that tree crushed it, showing the damage just one of them falling can do. And they were told by law enforcement officers to leave their homes after the deputy was shot because at that time the suspect's location was still not known. Now we are here at one of those three scenes along Northeast Grand here along Clackamas, and you could tell that this is still a very active scene, though we're not sure what happened here. Police releasing very few details about the case today. It took just several hours for local crews to be overwhelmed by the Miller Road fire. Now, with statewide resources, they're battling wind and dry conditions as they try to put this fire out. Well, that they are frustrated because they don't really know when they'll be able to come back, and there are signs this slide is growing since we last talked to you at 4 o'clock, Jeff and Elizabeth. Those chunks of pavement that are coming down the road, those were not there an hour ago. For the pandemic across Oregon, there were a little bit more than 1,500 evictions each month. In October, all of the pandemic protections in the state lapsed, and between then and now, there's an average of 2,100 evictions each month. That's a 43% increase. Those attorneys and the city's attorneys were in court this morning arguing whether or not enforcement of the ban could legally begin. For this winter, ODOT says it's been pretty tame, save that one January storm. But what is bad for the roads is good for the ski areas, and they've been hoping for more storms like this.
Brandon, lots of folks saw the glow from that fire last night.
Yeah, that glow shining a light on a concerning situation for people who live on Larch Mountain. We have been watching the smoke billow throughout the afternoon. It's actually calmed down a little bit in the last hour or two compared to what we saw earlier today. We've also seen water drops all day as firefighters try to put out this fire that starts as the leaves are changing for fall. Firefighters attacking the fire from the air.
That's near our home, but we can see it on the ridge.
While people living on Larch Mountain watch from the ground.
It has definitely spread out. It's gotten a lot bigger. Time for some concern.
The Nakia Creek fire started on Sunday in a grassy, brushy area. Bill Ennis says that's clear-cut land. This afternoon, we saw flames pushing near more heavily forested areas.
Once it gets to those tree lines, those trees will pop off real quick. They get hot and then they just explode.
As people drive to get a look, Don Belden is packing up.
I'm getting ready to be evacuated, so we ended up getting ready for that last night. So,
yeah. I mean, no evacuation orders, but why did you want to be ready?
You never know, right? You got to be self-sufficient, particularly up here.
The fire comes at the tail end of a moderate fire season, but a third of the way through October, when the sky should be cloudy with storms, instead is smoky from fire. Neighbors hope the season's end is in sight. Does it surprise you that we're having this conversation about a fire on October 10th?
Yes, it does. Yeah, normally this is real wet around here, so fire wouldn't be a problem at this time of year.
Summer hasn't really ended, so it's quite a drought situation. It's not helping us.
There still is a burn ban in effect here in Clark County, and the cause of this fire is still under investigation. Reporting live in Camas, Brandon Thompson, KOIN 6 News. For the people whose cars were stuck up on the Johnson Ridge Observatory, the real relief didn't set in until their cars actually started. But they were told it could be a year before they were able to get them. So they tell me now they're ready for the rest of summer.
Starts. And here we go out.
A drive down Mount St. Helens.
I can feel relief just going through my body.
2 months in waiting.
I was driving kind of like the family crap car this for a while, and having to ask rides for stuff.
Aside from some dust and droppings, everything was intact.
I've had all these different scenarios going through my head. None of that so far is obvious. It fired right up.
For Robert,
I come around here this last corner, and that's when I see, the tree snapping like pencils.
He was the first to see the landslide, slamming on his brakes just a few yards before hitting it.
You don't believe it, man. I mean, first you have to, react in a split second. You don't believe what you're seeing. I kind of had to look at the map to see if I didn't go off the road or something.
Roger and Robert were originally told it could have been a year or more before they'd get their cars back. The temporary road they drove on is built with the gravel and rocks from around the slide.
We were able to reuse most of the material on site, so that really helped expedite efforts here.
WashDOT's first priority was making sure the slide was settled, but replacing the bridge that was once here won't be as easy.
After we walk away a month or so from now, the site will stay in that condition until we get the permanent fix in 3+ years down the road.
The ordeal has not squashed Roger's taste for adventure.
Actually, it might have increased it.
Or scared him away from Mount St. Helens.
I think that's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah?
I think I'm going to go up on the other side around Windy Ridge and camp out.
And with no one hurt, it's a reminder of what could have happened.
You leave a little earlier. That was the best case scenario. Just learn to be thankful, and that's it. You move on.
The general public will not be able to get up to the Johnson Ridge Observatory via road this summer. WashDOT hopes if everything goes well, they'll be able to open this road again by next summer. Reporting in the Mount St. Helens National Forest, Brandon Thompson, KOIN 6 News. Yeah, it's important for those folks to keep a record of who they contact and when. That could help in later dealing with your insurance company. Now, here in Mountain Home, the family was quoted more than $10,000, tens of thousands of dollars to remove what used to be a huge tree that was leaning in their backyard. They ended up finding a family-run company out of Dundee to take care of it for a fraction of the cost, and now everyone can go back home. The key to taking down a 150-foot Douglas fir,
it is a huge risk,
is cutting it down one chunk at a time.
The best way was to climb it and bring it down in little pieces as he could.
Until the work got started today, the tree was uprooted, held up only by other trees, keeping it from hitting the two houses on the other side.
It's stunning. It's an incredible relief. It's kind of hard to believe that this is actually happening right now.
The lads called 14 different tree companies, some saying it was too dangerous, others saying they would need a crane, maybe two, and if that didn't work, a helicopter. Those would have cost tens of thousands of dollars.
Being told there's nothing we can do, even though we're aware of this, and even having folks suggest that your best option is to just let it fall, has been very frustrating.
What's puzzling to us, police told the people living in the tree's path it's not safe to be in the homes, yet the insurance won't pay for the removal unless the tree does fall and cause damage. A spokesperson for the Oregon Insurance Commissioner tells me that's a common policy. We have seen several trees around Mountain Park and across the metro, leaning but not quite fallen. The insurance commissioner's office says in order for homeowners to avoid being on the hook for the damage once a tree does fall, they need to log who they contact and when. If they get denied, they can file a complaint with the Division of Financial Regulation. For the lads, they realize other people have it worse than they do, and they may be in the market for a new insurer after all of this.
It has us wondering what is the value of our insurance and when can we count on them. Yeah, I think we're going to be perhaps looking around after this.
I know a lot of people have not gotten the chance to keep the tree from falling, so just take care of each other and look out for each other.
So after a long week of stress and a day of hard work, this tree is almost finally out of here. Now, if you have any complaints or even questions that you have about dealing with your insurance, we have links to who you could contact at the Division of Financial Regulation on KOIN.com.